understanding what glaze is important before using it. So this is a piece of glazed pottery. You only put glaze on after your clay has come out of its first kiln firing. So glaze is a lot like paint, but also very different. So you paint it on and it kind of looks like paint, but the big difference is the color that you see in the jars is not going to be the color that it actually is after it goes back in the kiln. So you paint the glaze on, you put it in the kiln again, it gets fired to about 2000 degrees, and then it will come out and be this glossy, glass-like smooth texture. You'll be able to eat and drink out of your pottery as long as you're using food-safe glaze, which is what we have here. So this is the chart for Amico glaze. And here's the lids, so the colors of what was used on this piece of pottery. So this is actually the purple. This is the dark blue. This is black, and this is gray. So black and gray look similar to what you're going to get, but the dark purple and blue are very different. So it's important that you're using the chart for whatever glaze you have, and that you know what colors you have before you plan for what you're going to do, because glaze is very expensive. So we don't have every color imaginable. So you need to look at the chart, figure out what we already have, make a plan, and use it. Now, glaze is different from paint in that it's more like baking a cake, because it's a chemical reaction that happens based on the ingredients in this bottle. So it's important that you follow the instructions, just like you need to follow the instructions if you're baking a cake. And so part of the instructions is that you're shaking this really well to mix up all the ingredients, like you would want to mix up all the ingredients in a cake before baking it. So you want to mix it really well. And then the other important instruction is that you're using 3 layers. So when you paint on one layer and you let it dry, it could be hard to tell how many layers is there. But if you don't fully paint a layer, let it dry, paint a second layer, let it dry, paint a third layer and let it dry, you won't really know that you have a problem until you take the item out of the kiln. So this is something that was not done with 3 full layers, and you can see how thin the areas are with the color here with the black. So if you only do 1 or 2 layers, your teacher will not be able to tell that until it comes out of the kiln. So you have to be the one to follow the instructions if you want your piece of pottery to come out correct.